We're talking strategic planning here. And if you haven't had a chance to check out the first two videos, it's really important to pop back because that's where we figured out how do we set a North Star? What is the most important purpose of our organization? And how do we set strategic goals? In the second video, I talked about how strategic goals are different from operational goals. And it's important that you get those right because the next questions will only work if you've answered those ones first. So let's dive into the next step, which is lifting our eyes to the horizon and understanding the environment in which your organization is operating. So this next set of questions, you really want to be looking very broadly. When I do this with a team, I often impose some kind of a $5 fine if anybody mentions their company while we're talking, because we're trying to keep the conversation external, focused longer term and outside the organization. You can try that if you want. So when you're talking about these things, you want to think about macro trends. What's changing in society? How is the population aging or becoming more youthful, depending on where you live? How is immigration shaping things? What are some of the massive themes of our time socially? What about political, economic issues, regulatory issues? What about how your customers' needs are changing? What about how your industry is evolving? Is there consolidation? Is it the opposite? Are companies kind of breaking apart? Who is emerging? Are there disruptors coming up in your industry? Those sorts of questions. You also want to think about technology advances, and that might be technology advances in your core space, that your actual product is changing, but it may also be how technology is changing distribution, changing how you interact with customers, how you do billing, how AI is changing absolutely everything. So all of these questions you're looking to generate in a great session, you should be generating 200 or 300 trends under those categories to just get your mind going. Do not edit yourself as you go. Don't look at somebody like, why did you even mention that? How is that relevant? No, get it all in there because sometimes the most interesting trends are not things you'd ever thought about before, not things that yet seem relevant to your organization or your product or service, but they might be exactly what you're trying to unlock. So understanding your opportunities and threats is critical. But you'll notice I didn't talk about this as a SWOT analysis. And that's because I don't like the order of strengths, then weaknesses, then opportunities, then threats. If you look at what you're good at and what you're bad at, and then look at the world through that lens, you constrain yourself. You're really missing a lot of what's going on in the world. So we always want to put the opportunities and threats, that external conversation, put that first. That's really, really, really valuable. And it will get you paying attention to more things, a broader and more diverse set of trends. That's going to improve the quality of your strategic planning. So start with getting 200 or 300 key trends: societal, political, economic, regulatory, industry, customer needs, technology advances, all of it. And get those mapped before you then turn to the second question, which is, all right, what are our biggest strengths as an organization and our biggest weaknesses as an organization? Now you can get rid of the $5 fine and let folks talk about your own organization. And you're looking specifically for the kinds of strengths that help you capitalize on opportunities in the external environment and the kind of strengths that help you mitigate the threats. On the other side, of course, you're looking for what are our weaknesses that make it harder for us to capitalize on opportunities, particularly harder than the competition, and what are our weaknesses that exacerbate the threats in the environment, make us even more vulnerable than anybody else. By putting together what I call an SWOT analysis, I know why it's called a SWOT analysis, because OTSWA is just not so catchy, but it's a much more intellectually pure way of having the conversation. You want to start with the full view of opportunities and threats before looking at those relative to your own internal strengths and weaknesses. Getting this phase right sets you up for the very, very, very important, I'd say the most important step, which is the next step, which is where we create the strategic insights. So make sure that you create your SWOT analysis, thinking as broadly as you possibly can, and then bringing that together with what you know about your organization today. All right, on to the next.